You know that feeling, right? You walk into a networking event, it's buzzing,
Yeah.
and it just hits you. Every corner is like filled with people already deep in conversation,
Hmm.
laughing, connecting. And you're just standing there,
Yeah.
feeling like you maybe missed the start time, wondering how on earth you're going to break into any of those groups. It's a pretty common moment, that little bit of dread.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. It's like trying to join musical chairs after the music stopped, all the seats are taken.
Yeah, you just left on the outside looking in.
Exactly.
Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. We're actually excited today to be your guest hosts for this networking hat deep dive for gold nuggets. We're diving into some really fascinating insights from Mel Kaufman's life's work. Specifically, we're looking at his ideas on uh, networking's early advantage. Avoid clumps, connect early.
Yeah, and our mission for you today really is to pull out the most important, well, gold nuggets of knowledge from Mel Kaufman's observations. We want to help you understand why being early is such a game changer, why it's more than just polite, and give you some solid steps you can use right away.
Exactly. Actionable stuff. So we'll unpack what Mel calls these classic clumps,
Hmm.
why he thinks they spell disaster, basically, and then reveal this powerful idea he calls the little miracle that happens when you show up prepared and on time.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so picture it.
Yeah.
You step into that event,
Yeah.
you look around, and there they are, those groups. Familiar, maybe a bit intimidating. Mel Kaufman has a very direct way of describing them.
He does, yeah. He calls them classic clumps of professionals. And his immediate take for anyone seeing that, you blew it, you were late. Yeah, it's blunt, but, Mel sees it as a key business truth. He even says you have to take responsibility for your penury, basically, your lack of success in that moment.
Yeah.
He's really saying that being late isn't just, oh, you missed the first coffee. No, it has direct business consequences. You've basically given up key opportunities before you even start.
That's a really strong take on accountability there. And he uses an even more striking phrase for these groups. Mel says, clumps are circles of fear.
Hmm.
What's behind that? What does that suggest about the dynamics within those groups, and why are they such a problem for networking?
It's a really interesting psychological point, isn't it? Circles of fear. It implies they aren't just random groupings people, often cluster together, sometimes consciously, sometimes not. They're seeking comfort, maybe safety in numbers and familiarity. It's almost like a defensive stance.
Hmm.
Inside the circle, you feel safer, less pressure. But for anyone outside, that circle becomes a wall, a barrier. Getting in means you have to interrupt, you have to figure out the social cues, you have to kind of push past that natural human tendency to stick with who you know. It makes it really hard to forge new connections when people are already dug into their comfort zones, even if they don't mean to be exclusive.
So, for you listening,
Ah,
if you find yourself constantly seeing these circles when you arrive, it's not just about being fashionably late. You're actually stepping into a much harder situation. You've missed that prime window, and now making those really valuable connections is going to be, well, frankly, less efficient and more work.
yeah,
It really highlights how important those first few minutes are.
definitely. Crucial moments.
Okay, so if these clumps are the problem,
Yeah.
what's the solution?
Yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting, where Mel Kaufman talks about this little miracle linked to timing.
Yeah, this is a real gold nugget from his work. Mel points out something so simple but often missed. He says, professionals do not enter in clumps. Think about it. The entrance to an event, a door, a narrow hall, maybe a check-in desk, it's almost always, as he puts it, too narrow for big groups to pour in all at once.
You're right. It's not like opening floodgates. It's more of a trickle, usually.
Exactly. Mel has this great visual. He says business people usually enter two at a time. He compares it to animals boarding Noah's Ark.
Huh. Okay, I can picture that.
And this creates a totally different vibe than those later clumps. When you get there early, you're not facing these formed, sort of fortified circles. Instead, you're meeting people, individuals or pairs, who are also just arriving. They're still in that transition mode. They're open. Often they're actively looking for someone to talk to just to ease into the event themselves.
So that early arrival window, it's not just waiting around. It becomes the strategic moment. Is that the idea?
That's absolutely it. Mel really stresses this. He says, this is the time you greet the important people you came to meet. It's a solid business reason for being early. You're catching key people when they're most approachable, before they form those protective circles of fear.
Right, before the defenses go up.
Exactly. They aren't deep in conversation yet. They aren't surrounded by their usual team. This is when they're often open, receptive. Maybe even a little relieved to see a friendly face to start a conversation with.
Wow. That insight is really powerful because it shifts the focus, doesn't it? It's not just about avoiding the negative, the clumps. It's about proactively grabbing a unique, positive opportunity. It's like getting special access to high-value people who might be, practically unreachable later on,
Yeah.
like a backstage pass before the main event.
Precisely. You're positioned for impact right from the start.
Okay, so you've done it, you're there early, you see people coming in maybe one or two at a time, like Mill describes. How do you actually make the most of this early advantage? What does Mel Kaufman suggest for leveraging this critical window to make those little miracles happen?
Right, this is key. It comes down to preparation. Mel's work hammers this home. Be prepared. Have a few business questions ready. And crucially, this isn't about hitting someone with a sales pitch the second they walk through the door. Not at all. It's about starting a real conversation, something valuable that could lead somewhere meaningful.
Yeah, because the real magic here, this powerful little miracle Mel refers to, is that, and this is amazing, executives who do not return your phone calls will talk to you as they enter an event.
Hmm.
Just think about that for a second. The people you chase, leave voicemails for, the ones behind the gatekeepers. Suddenly, they're right there, accessible.
It's potentially transformative, isn't it? These are people usually surrounded by, layers of protection, busy schedules. But in those first few moments at an event, they might be alone, maybe with just one other person. And they're often receptive. They haven't fully switched into event mode yet. They're just arriving out of open to engaging.
So, if it's not a sales pitch, yeah, what do these few business questions actually sound like? Can you give some, concrete examples?
Sure, the main thing is they need to be open-ended. Questions that invite more than a yes-no answer. And they should show genuine interest in their world, not just set you up to talk about yourself. So instead of, can I tell you about my amazing product? Try something more like, what's one big challenge you're seeing pop up in our industry lately?
Okay, good one.
Or what are you hoping to get out of today's event? Or maybe even, what's a recent development or innovation in your field that's really caught your eye?
Those feel different. They open doors.
Exactly. They're not just questions. Mel sees them as strategic tools. They signal that you value their thoughts, their perspective. It immediately sets a tone of mutual respect, not just a quick transaction.
Right. So you're building rapport, a professional connection based on curiosity and shared interest, rather than just trying to sell something immediately. And taking that prepared action right away connects directly to building influence, to actually growing your business. These early, genuine chats can pave the way for future interactions, open doors that might otherwise stay firmly closed.
It completely changes how you approach networking events, doesn't it? You stop just attending and start strategically engaging. Every minute counts, especially those critical early ones. They become opportunities for real impact.
Okay, so let's distill this down. The core gold nugget here from Mel Kaufman's life's work seems to be this. Showing up early to network isn't just about being punctual. It's a strategic business decision. It lets you bypass those difficult circles of fear and instead connect with key people when they are most open, most accessible.
That's the heart of it. And we really want to encourage you, listening now, to actively look for chances to put this into practice. Think about the very next networking event you have scheduled. How could simply adjusting your arrival time, showing up early, and having just 2 or 3 thoughtful business questions ready, how could that totally change your experience and your results?
It's a simple shift, but potentially huge impact. And if you found this deep dive into Mel Kaufman's ideas valuable today, we really do encourage you to maybe listen again, perhaps tomorrow, or next week, maybe even next month. Because each time you revisit it, especially after you've tried it out a few times yourself, you'll likely pick up new details, new insights that apply to your specific situation.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you can find links to that bonus content workbook and the free app Mel Kaufman mentions. They should be in the description or show notes for this deep dive. They're really designed to help you take these lessons and, put them straight into action.
Yeah, definitely check those out. And we genuinely love to hear from you. Tell us about your experiences or maybe some wins you've had from putting on your networking hat and trying this early arrival strategy. Please share your thoughts or successes in the comment section or however you connect with us.
And, if this message hit home for you today, maybe think about sharing this deep dive with your own networking circle. Help them grow their influence too. And of course, please click like or subscribe or follow whatever the button is where you're listening, and maybe hit that notification bell. That way you'll know right away when Mel's next gold nugget gets dropped.
Now go put on your networking hat and grew your business.